Say, put the plate of donuts out here to test your guilt. If you don't touch it, you're guilty. I ate the whole thing.
Pooper or something. I have a sound bite on my computer called Godzilla Farts that I used for Carter when he was trying to fart on the show, and I just added them in. And
oh, nice.
Didn't say anything, so people think he just rips massive farts now.
Yeah, it's a shame. There's a like on Jackass, they have a guy that can like inhale farts through his butt.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know like what muscle you like. I don't know how you find that muscle, but like
if you bend over on the floor, you can do that. I feel like anyone
Really?
can. Yeah.
Well,
You
there's
just, spread your ass.
wow.
There's an episode of Kenny versus Spenny. I don't know if you're familiar, where they try and
Oh yeah.
they have like a competition of who can fart the most, and one of them cheats by like putting air inside of his ass.
Like literally gets an air
Yeah, he
pump
gets,
and
like-
like pumps it into his
And then
ass.
just like it's a continuous
and
flow.
it just comes out.
it's just
Wild.
Yeah.
really ripping them. You know, speaking of poops though, you guys are aware that monkeys throw their own feces, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I was just thinking about monkeys because our guest, you, Connor, here, part of Purdue's
Yeah.
leading improv comedy group, the Crazy Monkeys.
Yes, that's me. I'm in that.
Yes.
It's pretty rad.
Also, your sketch comedy group, right?
Yeah.
Its name eludes me.
It's Act Natural.
There you go. Okay, because you had changed it.
Yes.
And I wasn't sure.
It was the Porcupine Cafe.
Oh, okay.
Don't know why, but
Well-
it's a fun, cute little name for a couple weeks.
Fair enough. I mean, well, how does anyone even come up with a name for
Yeah.
a thing?
Yeah, for sure. I've tried several methods of naming anything really, and there was one method where me and some friends would like stand in a circle and we'd get two letters and we would just say words that started with those two letters, like an acronym. And if it was like PW, it'd be like Panda Wagon, Peanut Wheels, and then you just like keep going until you say one that everyone's like, oh, that's not bad. And Porcupine Cafe was PC. And
Okay, I was gonna say
stuck with that.
that
for a little
sounds
bit.
like what you would get.
Oh yeah, two words that have nothing to do with one another, and then just putting them together.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, right off the bat, how do you handle with like certain audiences? Like, do you get hecklers at your shows? Because you want like an active audience, right? But do you ever get someone who's just like just really rude?
Yeah,
Or
with,
how do you
with
deal with
improv, it's not quite like heckling as much as it is. Like if you've seen Ted, there's a part in Ted where Mark Wahlberg's character is really upset, and they're like, "Hey, let's cheer up. I know something that'll always cheer you up." And then they go to like the local improv show, and then like the guys are like, "All right, we're looking for a suggestion of a famous historical event," and then they're just in the back like 9/11, the Holocaust,
Oh,
and
sure.
we get that type of stuff all the time. But recently we've been dealing with a new type of heckler, which is this one kid comes to all of our shows, and for every suggestion, no matter what the prompt is, it could be like, what's something that could fit in my hand? No matter what it is, there's a guy, and he's always in the balcony, and he's always yelling, "My dad!" And I took the suggestion one time.
Sure.
Because it was like the third show in a row that he had done this for. And I ended up like roasting him in front of 1,000 people. And it was a very rewarding moment in my life, but that didn't stop him, and he
It
still
probably
does it.
encouraged him.
I think so, which was weird. We also get the suggestion of hentai quite a bit. And,
okay.
We're just like, look, we're college improv troupe. What we do on stage, it's gonna be sexual and vulgar. You don't have to give us the suggestion
That's
of
fair.
sexual and vulgar stuff.
It's not something you can really visualize because it's specifically animated porn.
Yeah.
You know, like you could just say porn.
Yeah, pretty much, because that's what you're really gonna see.
Yeah.
But yeah, so other than weird suggestions that we get from people like that, the worst people are when we like ask for an audience volunteer to like play a game with us.
Yeah.
Because like if they the people that do well are the people that are like a little shy, and they'll listen to you explain the rules, and then they'll just like kind of go along with it. We can work with that. We don't like the people that are like really exuberant and confident, and they're like, yeah, let's play a game because they think they're funny, and which like I'm sure they are, but like the audience is just automatically against them.
Fair enough.
And like I would love for somebody to do a study on the psychology of why that's so, but it is because they'll make a joke that we would make, and the audience will just be like, no. So that's always a good time. We had one audience member come up on stage, and they were guessing something, and all of us were like dancing, trying to represent a historical event, and it was the Civil War, and like we did it so clearly. We had like Northern soldiers and Southern soldiers, and like they went against each other, and I don't remember what we did, but there's a lot of clever stuff going on, and it was obviously the Civil War. And then the audience member was like, that's obviously the Holocaust. And he literally got booed. Like 800 people were just booing this guy.
Damn.
It was so funny. So yeah, we like to keep that story alive just to know that like there are some things that are like off limits, and that's like something you don't want to talk about.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Dang.
Man. Didn't realize so many Jews went to the Crazy Monkey shows.
Yeah, I don't even think it's that. I think it's
No,
just
I'm
like
just playing.
we as a society understand
No,
that.
for real,
like,
for real.
Well, it's fascinating too because recently I went to like an open mic, and some guy was doing stand up, and I can only guess, but he seemed like someone who is like new to stand up, but you know, I guess has a decent personality for it and has watched his fair share of it, knows how to like structure something like that. And he made a Holocaust joke, which normally like a lot of, you know, like college humor, you know, is very like avant-garde. Like you're just trying to make the worst joke you can.
Yeah.
And everyone would just shut off at that point.
Yeah.
No one was
You gotta
having
be
it.
careful.
Yeah, and even like, I mean, this joke wasn't very tasteful, but even if it is tasteful, like, for whatever reason, you know, like, that's just one of those things where people are now.
I feel like the show
Makes
Always
sense.
Sunny in Philadelphia, they do a great job of like towing the line, and they
Yeah.
always just go past what's okay. So it's
That's a
like
good point,
it's
yeah.
funny, and it's like that's not, you can't quite do that.
No, actually, I've had experiences watching that show where I used to think it was funny, and then I'd come back and rewatch it and be like, wow, this is really sad.
Yeah.
This is like dark.
Yeah, like
This is
there's
messed up. Their
like,
lives are messed up.
If you watched it 10 years ago and you were watching it like in 2010, and it's like, oh wow, this is funny, a little inappropriate. You watch it 10 years later, like, we could say that on broadcast television.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And it's still going.
Yeah,
For real.
which is insane.
It's-
And they keep finding ways to like analyze the zeitgeist of America, and they just do a great job of keeping it like, because the line shifts of what's appropriate, and they have always stayed right with it, which I just think is really impressive. And you know, for college students starting stand up, I think that's difficult for a lot of them.
Yeah, they kind of took that thing that Seinfeld did, where just these terrible people leading their lives, and they kind of took it like a step further.
Yeah.
Where I can only imagine the finale of that show is going to be something similar, with them like somehow paying for their horrible crimes.
Oh yeah, which would be, I mean, that is if they ever end it.
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
they'll just replace all the cast and just keep it going.
That's
forever.
fair. That's fair.
But who knows?
Yeah.
Because Charlie Day is. I know that he recently in an interview was talking about how he's like, I mean, 10 years ago we never had a plan to end the show, and we still don't. But like, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, as long as it's making money, really,
Yeah, for
like,
real. And they look like they're having fun doing it. Like,
yeah,
geez.
yeah. And honestly, I don't know if any of them besides, you know, Charlie Day are in much that's very like I know they have their own projects.
Yeah, like.
But I can't think of a project that I've
whoever
seen that I
plays
really
Dennis is
enjoy.
in AP Bio.
That actually is a good show. I take that
I haven't
back.
seen it. I know Patton Oswalt's in it, I think, right?
He is. I
think
guess
so.
Danny DeVito's also an outlier, but
I'm not sure. Either way, I think like I don't really see them doing much else other than Always Sunny.
Yeah.
So, which honestly like sounds ideal. Like just like doing your one thing as a celebrity, everybody knows you for it. They don't expect
Honestly,
much else
yeah.
from you.
fair enough.
You know.
So, like, contrasting improv and like sketch comedy, right? What's kind of the setup with that? Because to practice improv, I assume it's just a bunch of improv games, right?
Yep.
You just get really good at it, and then you can just do it in front of people. But I assume it takes more strategizing for sketch comedy, right? Do you have a team of people who just write, people who are just on stage, a little bit of both? Does it take like a director for every show?
Right.
How do you
so
kind of set that up?
The original plan with the sketch group was I was just gonna see like who was comfortable writing and who was comfortable performing, and then just have people specialize. But I think it's far more efficient to have people that write and perform, just because having a team that writes and a team that performs was just like kind of weird because like they didn't interact well. So this semester everybody's doing both, and I guess I'll start talking about improv first, just because
Sure.
it's more of a foundation of what sketch is.
Yeah.
So I'm taking classes at Second City this semester, and I go there once a week, and it's called the Conservatory, and it's basically improv that is targeted toward the development of sketch comedy. So you'll do improv, and then you'll just do a scene, and then you'll get asked like, okay, what was like the premise of that? What was the humor? Like, why was it funny? And then you'll spend like 5 minutes just thinking about it and like adding jokes and structuring it a little more, and then performing it again. And then basically the idea is to keep doing that until you have a developed sketch. And I love that approach as an improviser, but I'm sure for people who are less familiar with improv, that sounds a little daunting, because it's like just redoing improv until you have a sketch, which isn't great for some people. So I really enjoy improv. I'm learning a lot. Currently like halfway through like 3 different books on improv, just because I like getting different perspectives and stuff.
Yeah.
And it is weird doing improv at Second City and then coming here and doing improv with the Crazy Monkeys, just because like the Crazy Monkeys, like we're great, we're funny. I love doing improv with them. But we know our audience and we know what they want to see. Right. And so a lot of dick references and stuff like that. Whereas at Second City, like it's a little more sophisticated, and
Sure.
I feel like it's more nuanced humor, which is a little harder to do, I would say. So it's definitely fun getting that perspective. Now with sketch comedy, the way we're doing it now is, like I said, we're all writing and performing, and as far as like developing a sketch goes, because we'll write a sketch, it's really kind of similar to what I was saying earlier, where but instead of improvising it, we'll just perform it, and then we'll analyze it again and just ask like, what else can we add to make it funny? So not a lot of improv, but you're still kind of playing around with the characters and the environment that you've created through the sketch. So they both, improv and sketch, just involve a lot of on your feet creativity, creating stuff out of nothing and then applying it pretty quickly. The only difference is that sketch, the final product of sketch, is very, very well rehearsed, whereas improv, you never really know what's about to happen. So yeah, it's always fun. We do, like, going into a show for improv, though, we know what games we're going to play, and we know who's going to play what game. Gotcha. Other than that, there's not really much that we rehearse.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we just play a lot of games.
Okay, so with Crazy Monkeys, you have your advisor is the illustrious, venerable Rich Rand.
Rich Rand,
right?
yes.
How involved is he in that besides in name?
This, if SAO were to ask, the answer is more involved than this. But SAO, of course, is the Student Advisory Organization. They're the ones
Something
who
like
do
that.
the
Yeah.
student organizations.
Sure.
And I don't know what the requirements of an advisor are, but Rich Rand will come in every other semester and lead a workshop for us, but it's
Okay.
never about improv. And like I've kind of been in the world of like I've taken classes at PAL. Like
Sure.
I've seen Rich Rand around.
Yeah.
But some of the Crazy Monkeys don't. They have no idea who he is, so
Yeah,
they
yeah,
just
yeah.
think that he's like this Santa Claus figure that comes into our practices once a year and then leads these weird workshops because they are
Yeah.
bizarre. He'll bring in masks and he'll like have us
Yeah.
in silence stare at these masks for like 10 minutes and then he'll be like, now put your mask on. And then we'll just like walk around as that mask's character and like talk to each other with these masks on. And it's just like some weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
He had us one time sit in a circle and look at a wall and just make facial expressions of a movie that we were watching in our heads. And it was just wacky stuff. But my favorite thing we've ever did was last semester he came in and taught us clowning. He had the red noses and everything. We all
Yeah.
put on the red noses. And one by one, we just performed as clowns. So we would go into the room and you wouldn't speak. And he gave us the joke of do less because we are all like very high energy. And, you know, you'd think clowning is all about like big energy, like, oh, I slipped and fell on a banana peel. But his whole bit was that like it's supposed to be more of a reflection of the audience. And it was like a super poetic workshop. But like it's still clowning. So whenever anybody in our group is like trying too hard to be funny, we'll all just go, do less. Like, do less. You're doing too much.
Has he like done his clown for you guys? Because he's really good at it.
I don't think so.
It's
He did like a quick little bit of it, but it didn't give us a performance.
like I never knew what to expect like from someone who's a really good clown, and then he like showed us in a class, and I was like, wow, that was weird.
Yeah.
Like
It is weird. But like I'm glad we did that workshop because it was a little bit like improv in that you really, really feed off the audience.
Yeah.
You do one thing that they react to, and then you build upon that.
Sure.
And in improv, we call that a game, and it's basically like as soon as one weird line gets a laugh, then you ham that up and you keep doing that until you've exhausted it. But you also want to heighten it every time so that it's a bigger level.
Yeah.
So like taking that clowning class was cool because it wasn't a verbal game.
Yeah.
It was verbal meaning like spoken exchange.
Sure.
It's more of a physical type thing, and it was just really interesting to learn the different types of humor, I guess.
Yeah.
Y'all literally going to clown college over here.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
No, for real, for like 2 days, I got like really into clowns. And I was just like researching it and stuff. It was interesting.
Dang.
Did he teach you about like creepy clowns though?
No,
How to be scary with it?
I'm in a creative writing class right now, and we had to write something in the perspective of a clown. And I wrote my piece about how, like, I basically wrote a critique of the movie It, and because like my character was a clown, and it was just like, this movie is a disgrace. Like, this isn't what clowning is all about.
Do you remember like a few years ago when there was this epidemic of like killer clowns
Yeah.
around the
Yes.
country?
How could I forget? I was terrified.
What was with that?
Yeah, I never went out to find clowns,
Yeah.
but I was all about watching the videos of people who did.
Yeah.
And for some reason, like, I'm fairly certain in retrospect, all of them were fake, or at least most of them.
Yeah.
But,
Probably.
like, in the moment, I would, like, look through them, and I would just be like, oh, that one's fake. That's fake. Ooh, that one's real. Fake. And it was just... and like I don't know why the ones that I thought were real, I don't know why I thought that about them. I was just like, ooh, this one had a little more camera shake. That indicates fear. Like, that's real.
Yeah. But the real question is how many of those clowns were actually killers? Like,
Or how many of them
John Wayne Gacy types.
I think they were all killers. The question is how many of them were just pretending to be clowns. Because I think they were all killers hopping on the clown bandwagon rather than the clowns being like, "Way, we're a marginalized profession. We should take this land back," or whatever. There's a movie called Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and it's terrifying if you're 9, and I was 9 when I saw it. So don't recommend that to any 9-year-olds out there, but pretty funny if you're grown up and you can handle that.
Why is the it guy even a clown though? Because he can turn into anything, right?
Yeah, I think
he doesn't even try to attract the kids with the clown. He just always tries to scare them, kind of.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be like a manifestation of your worst fear.
So many people are afraid of clowns or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know why people are afraid of clowns. They're so approachable.
There must have been something that happened, like either a movie or one day someone had a creepy clown story and then they just got passed along.
Yeah.
So people just feel like they're afraid of clowns.
Oh, no.
I feel like that's got to be what it is.
I think they're objectively terrifying, honestly. But that's just me. I think because society has sculpted my opinion of them, though.
Yeah.
But beyond that, just, like, I remember when I was, like, 13, I had a nightmare that took place in a CC's Pizzeria, and I was being chased by clowns. And then I remember leaving the CC's Pizzeria, and I was on the set of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody in the Tipton Hotel, and the clowns were still there, and it was a terrible, terrible dream, and I'll never forget it.
God damn. That's insanely specific.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not making it up. I could have said anything, but
Fair enough.
I mean, I think it's pretty creepy just the fact that they're always happy. Like,
Yeah.
there's got to be something. I know it's a character, right? But like, imagine if you were a clown all your life, all day long, 24/7. How could you keep that up? You got to be hiding something. What keeps you so happy? What keeps you laughing?
yeah, I think
That's creepy.
less creepy than putting on the face of being happy all the time is genuinely being happy.
That's
all the time.
true.
Ooh,
You know
yeah.
people like
Yeah,
that.
that's true.
I'm like, I get pissed off. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Be upset. It's like, I don't know. Like, I knew a girl in high school who, like, we were on the speech team together, and, like, we would compete, and, like, she would, and she was really good. So if she did anything except, like, usually if anybody who was really good didn't win, they were like, man, that sucks. Like, they weren't, like, douches about it. They were just like, man, that sucks. I'll just have to work harder. Yeah. Whereas she every time would just be like, well, I had so much fun today. How about you guys? And it's like, you can, like, hey, it's okay. You can let down your guard. And she's like, no, I'm genuinely happy and excited to be here. And it's like, shut up.
He's like a
geez.
robot.
Yeah, like, you don't have to be happy all the time.
Just imagine that kind of energy, like at a professional, like sport level or something. Like you lose the Super Bowl and you're just like, whatever, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Andrew
job,
Luck,
guys.
Andrew
Nice.
Luck was always, like, super go-lucky about all that stuff. Like, he would always, like, he'd get sacked and he'd be like, oh, good tackle, man. Just like,
slap his ass.
yeah.
Good job.
I mean, but I love seeing that in sports.
No, I do
when,
too.
Like,
I do too.
They're like polite to each other's teams.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, that's touches my heart. Like, it makes me wonder, like, if like, in during recess in elementary school, everyone was like playing kickball. I was like, oh, back up. Jimmy's a big kicker. And then Jimmy, of course, is like blushing. He's like, guys. I wonder if that ever happens in football where they're like, hey, back up. Number 1 is a big kicker. It's like, stop.
I mean, sometimes they do call out help, like on like O-lines and stuff. Like, hey, this guy's big as fuck. Help me block him.
I know, but it's less of of a flattering compliment. More, well, maybe it
Well, like,
never
hey,
was
this
a
guy's-
compliment. Like when I was a kid and there was like one time someone was like, "Oh, he's a big kicker." I was like, "This is the coolest day of my life." Like it's downhill from here because I'm peaking in the 4th grade.
Dang. I thought I was sad. I peaked in the 8th grade for sure.
Ooh,
Peaked in
how
the
so?
4th
What'd you
grade.
do in the 8th grade?
Dude, I was so cool in 8th grade. I was captain of the 8th grade football team.
Damn. What was like the thing you did? Like the peak of 8th grade, which was the
man.
peak of your life.
Honestly, I feel like being in Mr. Naraki's honors 8th grade math class was pretty cool.
Damn.
I think he had a crush on me, honestly. One time we like touched hands when we were going for a pencil that I dropped.
Ooh.
And I think we almost kissed.
It's kind of cute.
But yeah, that was probably up there. I feel like everyone liked me back then.
I mean, yeah, it's a small community. You know what though? Speaking of sports, so you know how like people say that like they don't like jack off or have sex before
Oh,
sporting
shit.
events to like keep in their
Oh yeah,
testosterone.
Muhammad Ali was big on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like he would be like a month before a fight. He wouldn't.
I
Ridiculous.
don't know like scientifically if it's been proven, but have you ever tried that with your shows? Do you find yourself having more energy if you hold off for a while before a show?
I do know that, like when I was a kid, I was raised very religiously.
Sure.
So like every time I would masturbate, the next day or like the rest of the day would just be bad. And in retrospect, I know it's because I felt guilty
Sure,
and all that.
sure.
But like objectively bad things would happen to me after that, and I was like, I thought it was like a form of karma or something. Like let's say I'd jack off and then I had a baseball game that night.
Yeah.
And there's all types of factors. 1, I'm guilty. 2, now I'm all sleepy. So there's all types of reasons why I probably didn't play well.
Yeah.
But either way, I was just like, man, God saw it. God's upset with me. So for doing comedy now, I don't really think it has an effect. So I don't. But then again, I haven't tested that
Well, but
hypothesis.
you never just like in retrospect, you're like, well, that one day,
I just didn't do it.
yeah, and man, I had a really good show that day.
I think. I mean, I can't. I don't see a correlation between
Yeah.
jacking off. But I do see a correlation between how much sleep I get. I know that's boring, but like
Well-
if I get less or if I get more sleep the day before a show, then I'll do better. Also, I do have a little pre-show ritual that like is a little superstitious in kind of like masturbating.
Sure.
I guess.
There's a lot of show business kind of has that.
I will. So we have a call time of 6:30, and the show's at 8. So there's an hour and a half. At 6:30 on the dot, I drink. What is it? 16 ounce? Is that a cup and a half? I don't know. 16-ounce beverage
Beats me.
of a double shot of Starbucks espresso, and then we warm up for an hour. And then the doors open, and then people start flooding in. And in that time, I take the biggest shit of my life, and then I go out,
every
and then I
time tops the
feel
last.
yes, and then I feel 2 pounds lighter, and then I run out on stage, and I feel incredible. Yeah, it's kind of like a getting rid of my demons type.
It's like a
cleanse.
detox.
Yeah,
kinda.
yeah.
Okay.
It's like a mix of coffee and negativity from the day and just nervousness, and then it just all exits.
Ooh. So if you're ever like in a rush for your next gig or whatever, and you don't get a chance,
Yeah.
shit.
No, see,
gonna have to-
I have gone on stage without pooping before. Like I drank the coffee,
Oh,
and then I'm just like, I don't really have to go. Actually, halfway through the show, I'm always like, what the fuck is wrong with me?
And you don't have intermissions, do you?
Yeah, no, so I just have to live with it. Oh, it's the worst.
You'd have the poop shakes.
Yeah, just the whole show, and like it like really limits your range of movement too. I don't know why. It's just a psychological thing.
You're
like
clenching,
if
maybe.
it's like if I have my arms too far apart, my butt will collapse. Like, that's not what you want.
Nice. So, you mentioned before, like, you have big audiences for Crazy Monkeys. And that's kind of something that's been building up for like a long time because Crazy Monkeys has been around for a while. When you joined, was it kind of like, I don't know, like, did you feel like you had to like live up to something? Because everyone kind of knows Crazy Monkeys, right? Everyone kind of comes.
My experience with it was so like in high school, I was like the performing arts guy. I did, like I said, speech. I was in choir and the musicals and all that stuff. So, and I came to Purdue for engineering. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be really dedicated to like my academics, and I'm gonna find what's like actually important to me. And so, in an effort to like find what I was interested in, I joined the gymnastics team first semester.
Wow.
And that was it was an experience, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. Quick humble brag, I did win an event at a meet though. I won the parallel bars and I still have a medal. Not like I'm proud of it because it was literally just like a thing that I did on a day. But then I quit gymnastics and I saw something about the Crazy Monkeys and I had never seen a show. I went a whole semester without seeing them or really hearing much about them. But I was just like, no, I think I'm missing like performing. I want to go back to performing, and I guess fine. I guess I'll do college improv. And like, there's so many like tropes about college improv and how terrible it is. So I was really reluctant to do it. But I went to the audition, and I was having so much fun at the audition. I was like, okay, I really want to be in this group now. Like, I didn't know anything about them. I was just like, they are funny. This is fun. I want to get involved.
Sure.
And so, thankfully, they did add me to the group. And the way that it works is when you get added, you have a whole semester of not performing, because they want you to like learn how to do improv and how to work with the team. And then the last show of the semester is your first show. So my first experience with them was filming the video for their first show of the semester. And that was the video where we all hit each other in the face with different objects. Somebody got hit in the face with a banana, a whipped cream pie. The best one was there was a guy, Cole, we all threw hot dogs at him, and he cut one in half and put it in his mouth, but it looked like it was all the way down his throat, so he spit it out, and it was so funny. So that was my first experience with them, and I was like, what the fuck is this? But then it was the day of the show, and it was in Loeb, which seats 1,038 people, and it was mostly full. And when I saw how big the auditorium was, and I was like sitting in the crowd among them, and I was just like, holy shit. I had no idea. Like, I was reluctant to join this group. I had no idea that there were like thousands of students that would like kill to get in this group that are like such dedicated fans. So that was like a big wake up call for me. And then after that, I was like super excited to be in the group, and those guys are my best friends now, and like everybody who's graduated, like we all stay really closely in touch, and it's super fun. So now that like I'm a performing member, we do mostly Loeb and Fowler shows, and Loeb is over 1,000, and Fowler seats about 400 people. I remember my first performance was in Fowler, and I was like, whoa, 400 people, that's pretty big. Because in high school when I did improv, it was in a black box for like 80 people max. And so like performing theater shows, like musicals, it was, probably like 800 people, but it was rehearsed and I knew what was going to happen. With improv, that was terrifying. And so doing it in Loeb, I'm so terrified every time right before I go on stage. And then I get out there and I black out. Like, people will tell me after a show, like, hey, like, you had such a funny joke in this scene. I was like, I don't know who I am. I'm like, what joke are you talking about? And they're like, no, you said the thing about the feathers. And I'm like, no, like, I don't remember any of this. And I think it's because like I'm nervous, and it's a mix of that and the fact that I'm literally just reacting. Like I'm just doing like what I would do in practice. It's like I feel like we all have enough reps to the point where like we can go on autopilot more or less.
Yeah.
And that I think that's like kind of what I do, and it works out for me. So that's good to know.
Reaching that flow state.
Yeah, I mean, because like I've heard people ask like, so like when do you write those scenes? And we're like, oh, we don't, like that's all made up. And they're like, it's way too funny to be made up on the spot. It's like, I mean, not really. Like, have you ever talked to like somebody funny? Like if you make a joke,
Sure.
I don't know. And so when you're like, I don't know, for us, we're all very desperate for attention. So when you tell us to be funny, we'll act funny.
Yeah.
And not that we are funny, but like just because we're trying to be funny, I feel like the laughter starts as a pity laugh, and then the rest of the audience is just like, oh, I hear laughter, I'll laugh too. Like a soundtrack type thing.
Right. Well, when people show up to those shows, like they want to laugh and have fun. They don't want to like sit there and be like, oh, these guys aren't funny.
Yeah, but that's
Right?
like kind of what's different about stand-up sometimes is people will go to a stand-up to support their friend, and then
Sure.
they see somebody who's not their friend, and like they want to laugh at their friend, I think they also want to laugh at everybody, but there's like a part of them that's also like, I either want this to succeed and make me laugh, or just absolutely tank. I don't know why. It's
Yeah.
like a psychopathic audience thought. Or maybe it's just me and I'm just generalizing.
No,
it to
no,
other
I feel
people.
like-
But I've seen that in different audiences for different venues that I've seen.
I think it might be the group versus individual kind
Yeah.
of dynamic. You know, it's easier to gang up on one person than it is to see like a group of people who seem like they're having fun, even if they don't think it's funny, I guess.
I know. And like you see that a lot. Like if you see professional stand-up, the opener is always like usually having a rough time winning over the audience.
True.
And I saw John Lovitz this summer in Indianapolis, and his opener was from Bloomington, and like he was what's it called, up and comer. That's not
Okay,
right.
sure.
He was up and coming,
Right.
but like you'd never heard of him before.
Yeah.
He won the audience over immediately with. I was so upset that I wasn't taking notes because his first joke was just like a knockout, and then he was up there for half an hour, and it was awesome. And then
Dang.
John Lovitz ended up coming out, and he was like, "Yeah, I let him just keep going for like 15 minutes because you guys seem to like him." And he's like,
Damn.
"I know you paid to see me, but like, here I am."
Yeah.
So. It was awesome, and I had never seen that in Indiana before.
Sure.
Because usually the openers in Chicago are a little more well known, so the audience is already kind of on their side. But yeah, it was interesting stuff.
Sick. How do you feel about anomalies and the weird and the unknown?
I was just watching a video on the Enigma machine. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
I'm talking about something way more just
Philosophical?
dark. No,
Oh.
dark and seedy and gross. So we have something.
Oh yes.
This is something we've been researching for a while in our laboratories. The Best of Butt Boy.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a CD we found in the studio that we recorded our very first episode in.
Writing centaurs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm very confused.
It's
as to what
original
this is.
dungeon music.
Oh, okay. So is it
Yeah.
to be played for, I'm assuming, one of three things. Either while you're playing D&D, while you're just going on a jog, or when you're getting into some kinky shit.
I think it could be for any of those three,
Okay.
but it's specifically for the latter.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and we thought it was just like a joke at first.
Mm-hmm.
Like we thought it was someone, I don't know, like trying to be funny,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then I actually found this guy. So his website down there, buttboymusic.com.
Huh.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Oh.
It's like a Chinese lotto website.
You should buy the rights to it.
Well, the Wayback Machine exists, so we could look at what it looked like when this guy
Okay.
still owned the domain.
Right.
And like it's entirely serious. I think he get his like main revenue from selling these CDs to like kink shops.
Oh, wow.
And I can only imagine, like, you know, if you buy $30 worth of stuff, we throw in like a Butt Boy CD
Butt
or whatever.
Boy?
And he has
Insane.
he has multiple projects too. He cites on his website that the Butt Boy name got him like a lot of like recognition just because it's weird and you remember Butt Boy.
Mm-hmm.
But then he got a lot of people saying, we don't want to sell your stuff because you're called Butt Boy.
Right.
So he started making music under like different names. One of them is Sonic Sphere. But then he also was tired of making dungeon music.
Right.
And he wanted to make dance music. So then he
Did
made
he merge them?
he didn't, which is unfortunate.
want
I don't
a-
even know. I don't even know if he's alive yet. But we've been trying to find him.
Okay.
And-
Are you asking me if I have any information
No.
on it?
Well, I mean, do you?
Well, it is me, but I'm Butt Boy. No.
Dang, that'd be nuts.
No, I want more than anything a dungeon dance party song.
That would be sick. His
my God.
his music sounds like just like MIDI music. Like, you ever played like the OG Doom game?
Okay, yeah.
It just sounds like music from that game, but
pretty
if it
basic.
sucked.
Okay,
Like if it wasn't very good.
I got you.
Yeah.
I can pretty much hear that in my head right now.
Yeah. And we've been trying to find this guy because we just got it because like it's funny. Like, you just look at like the best of Butt Boy. Like, there's someone called Butt Boy and he has
fact that
enough
he could-
stuff
yeah.
to make a best of
The
album.
fact he had
Yeah,
that
and
many
you're saying
albums.
that he like sold it to like sex shops and stuff?
Yeah.
See, I just read this article about how the majority of Americans are still going to the grocery store to buy their food, even though there's so many delivery options and meal prep
Sure.
services. And the reason that this article drew the conclusion was that it's because the majority of Americans are still older Americans that aren't as tech savvy as the newer generations that are currently entering the market. So like those services are growing in numbers as people get older.
Yeah.
So my thought is that applying that to the industry of pornography,
Yeah.
I'm assuming a lot of old people still going to actual stores to get their stuff. Because I've never
That's
been. I've
interesting.
been to a sex store one time, and it was mostly for a joke. So I feel like that's probably a marketable way for him to go about selling those CDs is by going to the actual store rather than
That's-
selling it online.
That's really interesting because we have an Oasis video in my hometown. And I've always been it's open and I'm like, how is Oasis video still open? It's just like a knockoff Blockbuster,
Right.
really.
like
but
a
then
family video. or
yeah,
something.
yeah. And I was like, how does
Even
this
smaller.
exist in like the age of like streaming and stuff?
Yeah.
And then I went in one time and they sell porno in the back.
No
But then I was
way.
also thinking like, who goes to buy porno at their local
That's
video
also
store?
true, yeah.
It's got to be all like the old people.
Yeah, that's
in town.
Yeah, because they don't know how to do it, or maybe they know how to do it online, but they're scared it'll give them a virus or, search
or they're
history.
just like, you know, this is the way I've been doing it for the past 40
Yeah.
years.
Or
like,
maybe
why
it's
stop
like
now?
Steve Jobs would always say that like he hated the way audio sounded on the iPhone, so he would only listen to music off of a record player. Like, you fucking psycho. Like, no. I like thinking that there's like some
just
old guy
likes
out there
VHS
like,
tapes.
nah, I like the technology of the internet's hot and all, but I like the old-fashioned VHS pornography.
That's fair.
I like having to clean out somebody else's cum stains on the CD, you know?
Yeah, because
Like,
they're probably renting there. I mean, I'm sure you could buy. It's like a rent or buy thing,
that's-
but like,
man, that's weird.
Renting
buying,
pornos.
Buying porn, that's weird. Renting
you
it,
think renting is better than buying it?
I agree
because
with him.
I think it's like, hey, I'm gonna be ashamed of this after I come, so here you go. Here, you can have it back.
Fair. 'Cause
Whereas
then you have to
owning
hide
it is like ejaculating, being like, I'm gonna do that again.
And it's not as classy as like a collection of Playboy, you know?
Yeah.
Like
But like,
the old box of Playboys. It's like the old box of sex tapes.
yeah,
You know, like,
there's just some like connotation of
Yeah.
it that's worse.
yeah.
like also, how many times do you rewatch a scene? Like, if you're watching pornography, you know what I mean?
You don't have
if
a
you
go-to.
buy if you
That's
buy
fair enough.
the porn, like, you're only gonna watch it like once or twice probably.
Unless you find something that you're like, this spoke to me so much.
Yeah.
That I
But there's
wanna
so much
purchase it.
out there, man. They just pump out porn.
I know, it's insane.
That's true.
You could find something better
My friend
immediately.
posted feet pics on Pornhub, which I didn't know you could do that, but it's like also
It's-
a social media site.
It's
I
like
guess.
kind of YouTube. Like anyone can do it.
You can
It's
post
really user
like
friendly.
anything at all. There, yeah.
There's the
and she
College
got like
Humor
$300 for like
Whoa,
10 pics. And I was
dang.
like, what the fuck? I was like, do it more.
There's that College
Gotta
Humor
shave my
comedian
feet.
who just like posts stuff where he's like cleaning the casting couch, or like I drive you to like the store, but I don't ask for sex, or whatever. Like he posts stuff like that on Pornhub,
My
and it
friend
gets
was
a
telling
ton
me-
of views.
Apparently, because the porn industry is so huge on the internet, they are like the pioneers of a lot of technological software development.
Really?
Because their websites have so much traffic. For instance, like when like you'll be on YouTube or just something and you'll like hover over a thumbnail and it'll like kind of preview it.
Yeah.
Like porn started that. And like
Wow.
that's just like one example, and like
Yeah.
it's not like that impressive, but just like the fact that they're contributing anything to the field of computer science is just amazing to me.
That's fair.
I know.
But so with the older Americans going and buying porn,
Yeah.
I want to play devil's advocate a bit.
Oh, okay.
So they also have these websites where you can buy, like sex toys and whatever online, like not just porno. But like younger people who are still maybe on their parents' bank account, like they're not going to buy sex toys online or porno online because then their parents are going to see. So then their only option is to go into the local sex store.
Right.
Hope no one sees them enter.
That's fair.
And then so maybe you're having two ends of the spectrum: really old people and people who are just barely old enough to enter these stores.
And truck drivers.
And
Oh,
truck drivers.
you're right.
Fair,
Lots of
yes.
porn, or not porn, but sex shops on like,
Yeah.
off the highway.
Oh, that's terrifying.
But
I don't want to know what fucking truck drivers are thinking about.
yeah,
Jeez.
I don't want to know what they're buying.
I know.
Yeah.
Because like there's
Dick
some weird
lollipops.
stuff in there. It's
Yeah.
not just like
You
vibrators
can buy, like-
and dildos. That's what I thought. It was just gonna be like dildos, vibrators, and like handcuffs, and
It's-
just like all the cute like lingerie.
It's like a serial killer's dream in there. You can buy like body parts, like you want just a woman's ass.
Yeah, it's like
you know?
we got it. What do you
Or
want?
like
You want the back of a kneecap? Hell yeah, brother. We got that shit.
Yeah.
Silicone.
It's just on the back shelf or whatever. You know.
Oh my god. There like I saw a GIMP mask and I was like, there should be a separate store for that. Like there should be a sex store
Like a leather
for
shop.
for everyone where it's
leather
like, hey, like everybody has sex. We're just
Yeah.
trying to make it a little more fun. And then they should have the fucked up shit somewhere else. I don't like that they just clump it all together. It makes me uncomfortable.
That's fair.
Also, when I did go, I went with my girlfriend and like we went just as like a haha, that'll be fun. It was right next door to like or not right next door, but like on the same block as where we had dinner. And we were like, yeah, we're
Right
just
next
checking
door.
out. Yeah, so we were just like checking out. We're like, oh my god, look, edible underwear, lol. And then like the lady working there like snuck up behind us and was like, you thinking about buying that? And we're like, no, we're kind of just like looking around. She's like, all right, well, if you need any help, just let me know, if you know what I mean. And I was like, what? No, I don't know what you mean. She was the weirdest person ever.
Was she trying to hook up with you or try and sell you
That's
edible
what I
panties?
think she meant. I think she was
Oh.
like, hey, there's a hot young couple. Maybe I can swindle my way into that one.
Ooh, maybe they're desperate enough for a threesome.
No.
I wonder if that ever works for her. If she's tried
Well, she has
that
the
on people
confidence
before.
to ask anyone. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
or
also,
maybe she was just like, today's the day. You know, like she's kind of psyching herself
that
up.
might
in
have
the
been
back.
it.
Yeah.
It was also weird because like when we were paying, she was like taking care of like scanning everything and whatever. And while she was doing that, she was like giving us her backstory of how she ended up working there. And we're like, I couldn't tell you a story I'd want to hear less than how a stranger became an employee of a sex store who tried to finesse their way into my sex life. No, thank you.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, wild character to me.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Like, that you don't want to listen to that, but in retrospect, like, it makes a really good story.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
What was her story? Did you listen to it? Or did you just get out of there before she could kind
I
of get into
did
the
listen.
nitty-gritty?
It wasn't anything special. It was like I was in high school and I didn't.
She's been working there since high school?
No, she was like, college wasn't for me, so I had some waiting jobs, and then, these hours are just so much better, and I was like, this is, at least be fun about it. At least be like, I was in a community of kinky ass people, and I just knew a guy who knew a guy, and he hooked me up with this awesome job where I get to look at body parts to sell people.
Speaking of a kinky community, Butt Boy is really big in BDSM communities. So in my effort to find him, to track him down, I was going on.
You interviewed a BDSM community?
No. I just I was on some really weird message boards basically.
Oh, okay.
And everyone was talking him up. Like everyone loves his music.
Wow.
Who's into that stuff?
That's like their guy.
Well, it's strange because like his music is nothing that like special. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess I don't know what goes into making dungeon music. Maybe it is, maybe it takes a decent amount of effort, but it doesn't sound that good to the layman.
Well, it sounds like they like him so much because, from what I've gathered, he's doing it for them.
Yeah.
Like, you could probably find better dungeon music, but
Yeah.
they know that, like, it's a member of their community.
Yeah, they don't have to listen to the like RuneScape soundtrack anymore and
Oh my
pretend,
God.
they're like this guy is making it so we can fuck to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Okay.
turn on phallophilia, babe.
Is this supposed to be derivative of the word phallic?
I assume so.
Or fellatio, even? What was it?
Phallophilia,
Phallophilia.
which means like that you love phalluses, right?
Oh,
Philia means
yes.
that you love it, right? Not
yes.
phobia, which would be that you're afraid of phalluses.
Whoa, I'm trying to combine the love of and philiophobia. I think I did it.
So you're afraid
of liking
loving things.
Yeah. Couldn't be more accurate. Okay.
He's really big on these BDSM message boards. I found a really weird one, too. It just was like. It was like, if you're trying to get into gay dungeon sex, like these are the must-haves, and among those
there's a starter
things,
kit for it.
Yeah,
That's
among
so
those things, it was like you got to listen to some dungeon music.
Yeah.
And Butt Boy, like he's a good one. He was called Cool Composer by Rolling Stone magazine. Cool issue too.
Composer.
Yeah, and I verified that they actually did call him that.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
I don't think they did a huge background check on who he was, but interesting that he got an honorable mention at least.
Yeah.
Super interesting. My first few times having sex, there was no musical accompaniment, which is awkward.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have jumped straight to dungeon music though.
True. Well, I guess too, like there's a big difference between being into BDSM and then wanting to imagine that you're in a dungeon while having sex and having the ambiance to accompany that.
And I get how dungeon music would help you achieve that visualization. Mm-hmm. But here's my question: why do you want that? And I'm not trying to kink shame anybody.
Well,
I'm genuinely curious,
Yeah.
See, I won't even watch Game of Thrones because I don't like that time period.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't like the whole pitchfork and everybody has a disease and you die at 25 lifestyle. It gives
Sure.
me anxiety, so I don't like imagining.
Maybe it's like kind of living life on the edge, while you
why
can.
would you want
like, it's
to?
that excitement,
Why would you want to live on the edge when you could have Grubhub have a robot deliver your food to you from your couch?
Maybe
How is
it's
that
like
not better?
It's like a counterculture thing. It's like life is too comfortable.
all about it,
Life
though.
is too easy. I want to get back to the good old times when like typhus could kill me.
Oh no!
And
I don't know. I'm a huge proponent of making things as easy as possible.
Yeah.
Like I won't wash my pots or pans when I cook. I'll just throw them away if I could.
This conversation is specifically why I want to speak to this man.
Right? Yeah.
I want to know why. Yeah, I want to
Like-
pick his brain.
Is he a member of the community or does he just produce the content for them?
That's also a good question.
Kind of like
I think he's a member of the community because he also has some articles on his website where both interviews with him and just stuff that he's just decided, I'm going to write this and post it on my website. And the way he describes it, it sounds like he just was one of those people who was listening to RuneScape music and was like, you know what? I can make this. I can make this music.
Yeah.
And then he did, and then he made a profit off of it.
Yeah, I think that's the important part. He realized
There's a
that
market.
what he was doing, he could advertise it specifically to people that he knew wanted to hear it, rather than just putting it out there and being like, "Hey, Dungeons and Dragons people, here's some music that you can play as a back score for your next campaign." He was like, "Nah, I bet you there's more people that want to get down to this shit."
Yeah, I mean and you know what? This music is like 20 years old, like 20 plus years old, and still no one has reached the level of like notoriety that he has.
That's incredible.
I don't even know if anyone is really making music that forums and shit are talking about. So if Butt Boy is retired, someone needs to kind of fill that space, go the extra mile, because he set the groundwork.
See, I want him to come back though. I just found out about him, but
Yeah.
I want him to make a full swing and get back in. The reason I want him back specifically is because I want that dance party dungeon music.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's the only one who can do it.
Bring it back, Doug, if you're listening. His name is Doug. He's identified his name as Doug. Doug, if you're listening, come on. Start your comeback by coming on the Whole Plate podcast.
We got you.
And then release your dungeon dance music album. Make a comeback.
I'd get down.
Yeah.
We're for you.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on and talking about
For real.
both
Yeah.
the stuff you're doing and just weird shit.
Of course.
Thanks for making
I love it.
conversation.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for having me. Hey, I also have my own podcast. I'd love to have you guys on
Wow.
sometime.
Oh, yeah.
For sure, yeah.
It's called Find the Humor.
Okay.
We're still in our infancy, though, so
I mean, so are we, obviously.
we'll try to get
We're
on this
sitting on a couch in our...
Hey, they don't know that.
Shitty apartment.
No, there's,
we're in the
there's an
studio.
ocean view.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And then do you know when any of the upcoming dates for your shows are?
Our next one will be on the 28th of February, and if you come to that one, you'll be able to see all of our other shows. If you want to catch Act Natural, we have a show on Saturday, April 11th. It'll be awesome, and we're debuting all types of wonderful new talent to the world of Purdue comedy. So definitely come check that out.
Hell yeah. All right, thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right. Later, y'all.